Hey turtle nerds, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm in me garage because I want to show you guys a very interesting terrapin that I just got from a very good friend of mine. I think it's really cool. It's a really interesting critter. It's something that I want to talk about, and it brings awareness to a pretty big problem. So we're gonna talk about this little new terrapin that I got that is sitting in this temporary little tub because I ran out of space. But I'm gonna be getting doing a whole setup video for this one and her adopted sister shortly. Whatever, I'll explain more in a minute. I first just want to say happy holidays, happy Christmas Eve if that's what you're celebrating. I just got back from a trip visiting family, so apologies that I didn't upload a real video the other day, but I did update all my patrons on my Patreon. If you hit the link right up over here, it's where I keep everyone up to date on exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going, and when I have some critters available. So anyways, let's take a look right over here at this little setup at a very special turtle that I want to introduce you guys to. So guys, as we know, diamondback terrapins, which is the species that I primarily work with, live in the brackish water marshes in the coastline of New Jersey. The United States, not just New Jersey. So as you guys know, diamondback terrapins live in the coastal marshes of the eastern seaboard of the United States down to the Gulf Coast and out into Texas a little bit. Anyway, their habitat is being developed very rapidly because, you know, of course, coastal development, you know, people want coastal beachfront property. The coast is a very prime real estate basically. So these wetlands are being developed. What happens is the diamondback terrapins that live there, some of these beaches where they would normally go to nest, are being developed, and now you have houses and homes and things there, and the females have nowhere to go. So females naturally looked for raised and elevated surfaces to go lay their eggs. Of course, this is because they don't want their nests with their eggs in them to get flooded when it rains or when the tide comes in. So these females will go up. They search for higher up areas to go nest and lay their eggs. Unfortunately, when people build roads and they build highways, the highways are always raised because you don't want the highways and the roads to flood. And unfortunately, when you cut through prime diamondback terrapin habitat, these terrapins, they see this big landing strip of raised land and they say, oh, perfect for my eggs. And so they will go up to cross these roads to either get to the other side or search on the road for a nesting spot that doesn't exist. Because to them, you know, tar and driveway and cement, that does not exist. There should be sand. When they go to elevated surfaces, there should be dirt and sand, not a highway and speeding death trap vehicles. So unfortunately, what happens is all across the coast of the United States, particularly up in New Jersey, down near Charleston, which is about an hour and a half south of me, and very particularly in Georgia as well, near Jekyll Island, these female diamondback terrapins will come up to nest and they will be struck by vehicles. Now, what is particularly devastating is the fact that it's big, gravid producing females are the ones who are hit. One male realistically can fertilize a whole bunch of females, but when you're losing the females that are of age and producing eggs, those are your main drivers of egg and hatchling production. When you lose them, you lose some very valuable members of the population. So what ended up happening was a female was struck by a vehicle and a very good friend of mine was driving through Charleston. So because these females are looking to lay their eggs, the eggs inside of their bodies are good, are viable. They're fertile, viable eggs. So when the females are hit, if you can get to them within 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes, maybe an hour of being struck by a car, you can pull the eggs out of the body of the female. So pictured is one of the female turtles that was hit, and so my buddy picked out the eggs. He took the eggs from the female, incubated them, and they hatched. So what you can actually do, and people do this with other species as well. Some friends of mine have done it with snapping turtles and softshell turtles. When females are struck, you can open them up and pull out the eggs and incubate them. Usually they then release the hatchlings, but in this case, the friend of mine was like 2 or 3 states away from South Carolina. He was just passing through and he couldn't re-release them. He tried contacting like a couple of different turtle organizations that work with terrapins over here, and they said there's nothing they can pretty much do at that point. So now he's stuck with a couple of Centrata, the Carolina diamondback terrapins. He has absolutely no clue what to do with them. I mean, he works with turtles and keeps them as a hobby and whatnot, but he's like, I'm kind of out of space. So I was already getting a bunch of baby ornate diamondback terrapins from him just because he's a nice source for captive ornate diamondback terrapins, and so him and I've been friends for a while now. And so yeah, when I went to pick up the ornate babies, he sent along this little Centrata as well. So I want to show you this animal where her origin is from. Her mother was killed on a road and her eggs were plucked from that road and incubated, and here she is. So please excuse the mess and the fact that this is a temporary setup. I'm gonna be getting a 75-gallon tub and setting it up somewhere inside for this fella. But if we take a look over here, there she is. That's also, so there's also, I have this ornate diamondback terrapin female who was found as a hatchling in the middle of the road, and she was taken in, raised up. Once a terrapin is in captivity, you can't re-release it. It got too big for its enclosure, and so now she is here to live with me. So this is one of the little rescues. She is looking awesome. She's a very similar size to the main protagonist of today's story. And I just have some sphagnum moss for them to hide in. A little basking spot with no light on it, just in case they want to, you know, hang on or hang underneath this. Sphagnum moss, a nice heater for 82-degree water, because these guys are in my garage. And here is this absolutely beautiful, if this sphagnum moss would get off of her. This is a Carolina diamondback terrapin. Now, in the state of South Carolina, I'm allowed only 2 of these per person in my household. Luckily, there are 4 people in my household, so I'm allowed 8 of these guys. Flipper is one, Urkel is one, I believe. Are you gonna try to bite me? Oh, you're making all kinds of noises. So you guys, this is a very, very cool, beautiful Centrata diamondback terrapin. She's basically indistinguishable from a northern. I'm gonna let her go back in her enclosure, but her shell is absolutely beautiful. She's got jet black eyes. Very irritated right now. I'm gonna put her back in the water, but I do want to keep an eye out because she's being a little vocal, and I want to make sure she's got no type of infection or anything. So I'm probably gonna crank up the water temperature just a little bit, but I want to listen, make sure she's not wheezing or anything like that. This little girl doesn't have as cool a story, but still pretty interesting that she was found out, likely dropped by a predator or something, and taken in. Now she's looking good. She's a very curious, very interesting little gal. Yeah, but that's the story on that little terrapin. So guys, if you are driving on the roads, I'm always looking out for nesting turtles, especially in the spring and summer. You guys have to be aware if you're in a coastal area near a marsh or anything like that. Thousands of adult producing females fall victim. Yeah, she's definitely wheezing a little bit, so I'm gonna give her a little antibiotics, but you know, thousands of them fall victim every year to vehicle strikes, and so it's just not ideal. She's going to be an ambassador now for her species, letting people know her story and hopefully getting people aware of the issue of how many motorists strike terrapins every year, because it is a really big problem and one of the main sources of population decline. So as a precautionary measure for this little Centrata, I put her and the ornate together, but I saw her breathing through her mouth a little bit, heard a little bit of whistling. Her attitude's really good. She's eating, but I want to nip this in the bud in case she has a little bug or anything from travel. So I have some ceftazidime right here that I'm going to thaw out, and I'm going to let these 2 thaw, turn into a liquid because they're frozen right now to keep it fresh, which is how you're supposed to store it. I'm not just being weird. So I'm going to give her and the ornate some shots really quickly. Just preliminarily, I'm going to do 1 today, and then in 48 hours do another. So here she is. See, did you just hear that? Do you see how she's mouth breathing there? Yep, she's about to hate me forever. Okay, ready, and in. Boom, boom. Atta girl, yay. I totally didn't get that on camera, but I don't care. She got her shot, why would I fake it? Looking good, looking good. My camera might die, so if it does, guys, I am very, very sorry. Just know that I tried. Give me your skin flap. Ready, folks? She's gonna hate me, I'm sorry, love you. And we are in. Oh my God. In, out. Okay, I know, you got it. Atta girl. Yay. She did not like that, but this is necessary precautions. That way, in case they have any infections or anything like that, this is gonna nick that in the bud. All right, now, because I feel bad, I put this little lid on so they could feel more secure. And I'm gonna take it off, and I'm gonna give them a little shrimp treat because I feel bad. Here you go. Go eat that. Go eat that. That's shrimp. That's really good stuff. That's like $6 for a little container. Eat it. So anyways, guys, yeah, I just wanted to bring awareness to that issue. The fact that there are hundreds, thousands of not just terrapins, but nesting female turtles that are struck by vehicles every year. If you see one that's hit, definitely call your local wildlife rehabber if they can hopefully fix them. Otherwise, consider, if you're willing to get dirty, picking up those eggs and then bringing them to a rehabilitation center or something like that. Or if you're a turtle expert, incubate them on your own and release those babies. If you guys would like to also support me in the channel, I have some more Nate Diamondback terrapins available right now. If you hit the link right up over here, I posted them onto my Patreon. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know what you think I should name her in the comments below. I appreciate you all, and I'll see y'all in the next one.